Hi, friends, and Happy New Year. Welcome to La Rosa Reads. I am Denise La Rosa, a proud book nerd and booktuber. Today, I will be sharing with all of you my reading and booktube goals for 2022, baby. Let's talk books. I am so happy to be welcoming you to a new year. Happy New Year, friends. I hope that this new year you are entering with joy, peace, happiness, good health, and just lots of love. And let's face it, you know what I'm going to say, lots of books. So I would love to take this time to start the new year off with my new year goals. I am someone who doesn't really believe in, making new year's resolutions. I am kind of against that. I feel like you're just setting yourself up to fail or you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. So I believe in making goals. And I make goals not just at the beginning of a new year, but just ongoing goals. And I revisit those goals and I reflect on those goals and see how I'm, coming along with the goals. So I figured why not make my reading and booktube journey much the same as many other aspects of my life. So I'm going to start off this video sharing my reading goals for 2022, and then we'll move along into my booktube goals for this year. So I consider my reading for 2021 to be a huge success. And how I define success is, did I read books that filled me with joy, that made me smile, made me laugh, made me, maybe cry a little bit, spooked me out a little bit? Did I stretch myself? And so I consider 2021 to be a great year. And it was actually a little tricky for me to get so much reading in. So last year I read nearly 50 books. My reading goal on Goodreads was to read 40 books. So I exceeded that goal. And you guys, that was not easy for me. I was actually kind of surprised because I was in the middle of my doctoral studies during most of the year of 2021. I graduated with my doctorate in literacy, language, and culture, my doctorate of education degree, in August of 2021. So to think that I had thousands upon thousands of pages of research, data collection, research, scholarly articles, the whole thing. I had all of that going on in my reading life, and I was still able to read for pleasure. And I don't really count the books or articles that I read for my doctoral studies in those nearly 50 books that I read for 2021. So essentially, I did a heck of a lot of reading in addition to reading for pleasure. So I'm just thrilled with myself that I was able to do that. I don't consider myself like this amazingly fast reader or someone who's read a ton, because I'm looking on Booktube and some of you guys have read over 100 books. So my little nearly 50 is very minuscule compared to a lot of you, and that's okay. So my goal this year is to read 60 books. I think that's a nice goal because I hit nearly 50 given the fact that I was also a doctoral student. And so now that part of my life is behind me, I should be able to squeeze in some more books. And I feel like 60 is a good number. So I'm curious, you guys, what is your reading goal? I would love for you to share in the comments below what your reading goals are for 2022 as far as the number of books you're hoping to read. So in addition to that number goal for myself, I have other reading goals as well. I want to read for pleasure, for joy. I don't want to get so wrapped up into this reading goal that I'm forcing myself to read just to hit the goal. That is, to me, counterproductive, and it defeats the purpose for why I choose to read. I read for joy. I read for pleasure. And that is something that I want to keep at the front of my mind at all times this year. Next, I do not want to compare myself to others. Just like I said a little while ago, so many of you booktubers, book lovers are reading way more than I am. Some are reading a little less than I am, and that's okay. I don't want to compare myself to other readers. Comparison is the thief of joy. I don't remember who said that quote, but it's a quote that I use a lot in my life, in various aspects of my life. It's a quote that I share with my daughters, and I definitely think that quote holds true to my reading journey. I do not want to compare myself. I want to stay focused on my own personal reading journey. Next, I want to stretch myself as a reader, you guys. I am so proud of myself for getting outside of my comfort zone. Originally, I was really into self-help books, a lot of nonfiction books, a lot of memoirs, biographies, autobiographies, a lot of things around politics back in the day I found to be, my reading genre of choice. And so the past couple of years, I have really stretched myself as a reader and have ended up actually enjoying fiction more than nonfiction in recent years. I credit A. Marie with A. Marie's Book Club for that. She was one of those first people that really helped me to stretch myself as a reader. I committed to being an active member and participant of her book club. And so I was like, listen, girl, I'm going to go on this journey with you. Whatever book you select, I'm going to read it, regardless of whether or not it's a book that I would have picked up on my own, just because I wanted to stretch myself. And I started doing that around the pandemic, when the pandemic first came upon us. So I really think that I will continue to be an active member of A. Marie's Book Club. And also in addition to that, I'm going to personally try to stretch myself to read genres that I typically don't read. So some of those genres would be thrillers, fantasy. Those are genres that I don't typically dive into, but I'm seeing a lot of booktubers recommending some awesome books, or what appear to be awesome books in those areas. And so I might be joining you, reading those fantasy books and those thrillers and mysteries. Horror is definitely a genre that I'm going to steer clear of. I'm going to stay far away from horror because I'm a scaredy cat, y'all. So sorry, not sorry. You won't see me reading horror books. I also want to discover some classics. I am going to be totally open and vulnerable with you guys, as I always am. I was not an avid reader in my earlier years, in my middle school, high school years. I really actually rolled my eyes whenever one of my English teachers, whipped out a book and said, "You've got to read this book." I believe the first book that I read all the way through was in 10th grade. So I kind of made it through middle school, not reading all of the books, like all the way through. Makes me cringe a little bit thinking about that now, because I am, a very good student now. However, that book that I read in the 10th grade was The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby was a book that, for whatever reason, captured my attention, made me want to read it all the way through. I was hanging on to every word. I was really fully invested in the story. And so, yeah, that's a classic. I finished my year of 2021 reading Anne of Green Gables, which was yet another classic that I hadn't read before. So let's hope that I can hold on to that goal and make it a reality, that I can achieve that goal of reading more classics. So I have 2 more reading goals. The next reading goal I have is to actively participate in Nonfiction November, which is quite a ways away. A Book Olive is an amazing YouTube channel that I've been following, and Olive is a fellow Pittsburgher. So shout out to the Steel City. I am really looking forward to incorporating more nonfiction into my reading routine, my reading journey. And so I think Nonfiction November will help me do just that. And finally, this goal is actually also a little plea to my fellow Booktube viewers, Booktubers. I want to buddy read with somebody. I've been noticing that a lot of Booktubers are buddy reading with folks, and I really kind of am having a case of FOMO, fear of missing out. Is that like a lame thing now? Do people still use that, FOMO? I don't know. I am 40. I'm not claiming to be in with the lingo and in with the times, but the reality is I have a fear of missing out, a fear of being left behind with this buddy reading thing. So if you would like to buddy read with me, definitely reach out to me in the comments below. I hope that that will be a reading goal that I can achieve this year. Now the time has arrived for me to share my Booktube goals for 2022. First and foremost, I want to continue to show up consistently. I have been releasing a new video every Saturday since I started in November, and I hope to continue to release weekly videos. I really want to show up consistently and have a consistent presence on Booktube. I want to connect with people. I want to create content that will help make that happen. I want to create content that will fill everybody's hearts with joy. I want you to smile with me, laugh with me, connect with me. So joy and connection are two goals that I have for my Booktube channel. Much like with my reading goals, and quite frankly, a lot of my goals in life, I don't want to compare myself to other booktubers. It is easy to fall into that trap. It's easy, to follow other booktubers, look at how many subscribers they have, how many comments they're getting, how many views they're getting. And that is not why I got into this gig. This is not why I chose to be a member of the Booktube community. I want to connect with fellow book lovers and booktubers, and I want to keep that at the center of this Booktube journey. Now, this is going to sound like the complete opposite of what I just shared. I really want to make it a goal to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2022. Now, let me explain why. I want to, again, you're going to get tired of me saying this, I want to connect with fellow readers and booktubers. And if I'm putting out content that very few people are seeing, then I'm not achieving that goal. So I would love to have at least 1,000 subscribers to my Booktube channel by 2022. I think that will be a sign that people are, connecting with me. They're being a part of the journey with me. It's just a reality that, when you're on social media, you kind of have to make numbers a little bit a part of the journey. And finally, I want to have guests on my Booktube channel. I was a mom blogger and podcaster back in the day, and I loved bringing people into the conversation. It's fun to talk books, but it's also a little weird to just be talking to a camera and hoping people will be watching you later on once the videos are released. But I want to engage in conversations. I feel like I truly am connecting the most authentically whenever I'm in live conversation with other people. So I want to have some of my favorite authors on. I want to have some of my in-person friends, some of my social media friends, Booktube friends on. I also want to uplift and spotlight some melanated authors, book lovers, booktubers, book everything that is really going to be a way to uplift marginalized voices. I really, of course, don't discriminate. So you don't have to fit that description of being a person of color for me to bring you on board either. But I do want to make that a goal to uplift those voices across differences that maybe aren't uplifted, not just racially or ethnically. I think also across religious beliefs, across ability. I'm just imagining for the fact that I'm director of DEI at a school, I want to bring more of that celebration of self to this space. All right, y'all. Those are my goals for 2022. I would love to hear from all of you. What are your goals? What are your reading goals? If you're a booktuber, what are your Booktube goals for the year? What are your goals for the year in general? Whether it's personally, professionally, I would love to hear from you. I would love for you to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying this content and want to get notifications of future videos. So that way we can keep this party going or get it started. I don't know, so we can connect. Until next time, I hope that you continue to be well and healthy and reading till your heart's content. Peace.